Okay, welcome back. You are still tuned in to Funtastic Fridays, and we're in the segment called Talk the Ting with Kim. So we have a whole discussion going on right now about the question, is the rise of women the fall of men? And right now we have a new face in studio, so we know enough on us. Hold on. I wonder who's the new president, you know? So I just want you to say good evening, introduce yourself, and I'll catch you up on what we've been discussing, alright?
So good evening, everyone. My name is Jevaughn. I am the Vice President of US Stats Programming and Volunteerism.
Nice.
And also the St. Catherine Youth Parish Council PRO. So here just representing both organizations, bringing on the conversation between the two. Your premise.
Like I'm name drop. Like it.
I think we have a future with a car.
A beer future president we have in here, you know. I love it.
Welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, we started the discussion, but we're gonna try and continue where we left off.
So if it is that you're just joining, we're talking about is the rise of women the fall of men, and once again, this is a part 2 to our conversation. So if you want to see round 1, just know that every single Talk the Ting with Kim episode is recorded and is shared on our YouTube channel. Just go over to YouTube, type in Funtastic Fridays, and if you're on the Instagram live and you want to comment, you want to drop feedback, because we see some comments with full address, right? Just ensure that you're following the page. If you want to comment and you're not following, it's not going to come through, right?
And what I want to ask these participants here today, part of our panel, I hope you guys can find some time between now and the next Friday, so sometime between now and Thursday, to just preps part 1, the round 1 of this discussion. We made some points that I think probably your views would have been great. I just drop a comment. I want to see how you guys will react, because the discussion last week was a different tone.
It was a whole debate.
I like that you guys are nice and calm, but last week it was
hot, man. You don't think so? We need a man to each other, alright?
I want to see how you guys will handle that point. So let's take a look at time out of the day when we get a chance on the scripts that. Alright? So
before we went to the break, we left on 2 notes, and I'm gonna address one before the other. But before we get into that, Jevaughn, what is your response? I start with that. To the main question. Do you think the rise of women is the fall of men, and why?
I do not think it is the fall of man. I think there is room and space for both, and I really wish that we would come to a place in which we're not examining the identity, rather the gender of individuals, but just individuals themselves. Are you qualified? Are you able to do the job that is necessary? Is there going to be any hindrance to you doing the job because of whatever? And regardless of that, just state that yes, this person is qualified, they deserve that. So no, I don't think.
Okay, I like that. And then before we went to the break, we were asking the question about, do we think that there's a fall of men per se in today's society when you look at the past, or what we know of men to do in the past? And we got some mixed reviews, you know. Anni had said, depending on perspective, because some people might see as a man being in the home is a fall, but for some people that's empowerment, because men never used to do that. And then Vaughn said, in believe in today's society, a lot of things are happening right now. The men have fallen, right? And that led me to ask, do we think that even how we grow boys, I think that's a part of the issue, because the example I led with is that when a young girl is struggling in school, right? Because we know she probably don't have much options. It's either she use her body or she use her brain. Probably.
We don't put those
we don't even give her an option, because we're like, the female, you can't use skills, right?
Men are given the option to say, the men are given the alternative. Yeah, man, you can't carpenter, electrician. But with the woman, it's like, no, you have to get your education.
Because you can't do nothing else, right? Do we think that's a part of the problem? Because as I said, if a boy is struggling, some parents are like, it's fine, you can use your hand. You probably just not good with the book. But the girl should have a choice. It's like your parents are pushing you, and I think that's why we're seeing the numbers in university as well, right? It's like it's almost like giving. So we're gonna start with Jevaughn, because he's a newcomer, right? And we know that our other guests had time to think. You know, at one point, Vaughn said, "One question again." Right? But that's fine. Jevaughn, what do you think?
So I can speak for myself, of course. I grew up in a fairly traditional household. Meaning the roles were that, hey, you're a female. We anticipate that you will learn the culinary arts, that you will learn the aspect of keeping the home tidy and values that will allow you to become a good wife in the future. You're the man. You need to learn to cut the yard or sweep up the yard and take responsibility. Go to the supermarket, go out. And we got that basic training. But I believe for my parents, and I do hope that they're watching online, that for my parents, there was a point in time when they recognized that even though they're giving us these teachings just based on the society that we live in and what is acceptable, that there's also a need to accept that, hey, suppose my daughter grows up and she chooses not to get married. Suppose my son grows up and he chooses a lifestyle that is resembling that of him choosing to stay home with his family and taking care of the house while the wife is propelled professionally. While it's not entirely the ideal situation, it is indeed a situation that a lot of persons are living in. And I could see that moment where they're like, you know, Jevaughn, even though this is what we taught you, we still think it's important for you to learn to cook. We still think it's important for you to learn to keep your environment clean, and learn that regardless of whatever it is, you still need to prepare yourself to achieve. And likewise, they taught my sister that you still need to learn the level of independence that will allow you to be able to fend for yourself if it is that you choose to not. Because I think personally that there is a desire, yes, for the wife, the woman, to have a husband that is a breadwinner, that is taking care of them, that is supporting them in a way that, I feel protected, I feel safe. But not all realities are the same, not all expectations are the same.
But like that was your reality, is that something you see frequently around you?
Is that still being taught?
Because you said that was your thing, and we love that your parents were able to do that. But is that something in your circle or in spaces that you enter? Do you see that a lot? That's the question.
I don't think it's a general. I think it varies, however. But for the expectation and in general, especially to our culture, Jamaica, I think it's very much you're the man, you're the woman. Roles are defined and separate. Work with your role.
We're not too free of that yet.
No, I don't think so.
Alright. Well, I love that Vaughn was the one that initiated that conversation about the home, right? So Vaughn, you think this has a part to play with the men in society, how we grow them?
Of course it does. Definitely does. Let's look at it this way. If you grow a man soft, it's going to be a soft. Alright, so okay, go on.
No, go ahead with your question.
No, because there we go. What is a soft man?
No, we need definition. Because if him like flowers.
Are we talking the Pillsbury Doughboy? What are we talking about? Yeah. Because that's a part of the traditional background.
Okay, so we know that the thought of what a man is to be is somebody that's strong. First thing you think of is strength. Right? Then you're going to think of him a protector. And then you're going to think of him a provider. Right? You know, you grow a man soft, you're cutting him away from how to develop his own strength.
But what is soft?
Come on, we might get somewhere.
Okay.
Realize it.
Not just physical.
Right. He might get somewhere.
It's also mental.
Right.
Because you have to allow a boy to go through the rigors, the turmoils, the teasing, all of that, in order for him to have that mental fortitude, in order to fight the battles that will come in his life. Because from he's a man, he is going.
So basically, life's rough.
You're going soft, you're shielding from all these things. What is he going to do when it finally comes?
Well, you see, why I wanted like a definition of soft, because I see there's this thing that Jamaican parents do, and I don't think we realize just what it means, right? When our sons cry, for example, most Jamaican parents, both mothers and fathers, what you have for your girl? Not one statement, we've all heard it, right? Right?
Most definitely.
Alright,
right across society.
Right across, right? So that, I think, that's how I more understand the soft part, because if a guy cries or if a boy cries, especially I'm like, if you pinch me, you pinch you. What how you feel the pinch, right? The pain still hurt either way because we have skin and we have the nerves of feeling. So me for ball, because apparently I'm female, so I'm allowed to cry at that. But you must have boy.
You see that? So women get all access to the emotional options. Men we get all access to the what we call the work and physical actions,
So
right?
that's why I want to tie back into the what soft means.
Right, that's why I was going to put it this way for him now. So seeing that we have this now, remember that we mentioned women are now rising. So this so-called fortitude that we say the man they need to go through to become a man, the women are now walking those paths. And we get to a position where the woman says, listen, she don't need a man. She can change her own light bulb, hammer up her own house,
I'm a toolkit.
wire up her own electricity kit, and she can pay her own bills.
Yes.
With the man them there. So these are the men that we say are the soft man,
Well,
the man who can do these things.
Uh-huh.
The ladies are now doing. So these men are now the soft men. And would we say that the men have no fun?
And after we go to Ting come and Anni ready. I want to
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
like
When you talk about that mental fortitude,
Yeah.
because I don't disagree with you on
Yeah.
the mental fortitude part,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking too. Women have it hard too.
That's what I'm saying.
Women been having it hard, and women have had to get their
As I said,
mental
women are
fortitude
now
up as
pitching
well,
through that. Yeah.
right? So even though men have to remain strong, and I mean that's what society said about women, because good things are not
No, as I said, back then we didn't have the option.
No,
That's
but
what we had to do.
I know that it's surfacing.
Now that the women are giving a balance, we have a little option. Because if you have a woman who is basically just providing for herself, the same fortitude that the man has, she has to find a way to get there. Remember, the woman that basically was they say stay at home. Them really never touch road unless if you buy groceries. But now women are work 9 to 5 and them a pick up the 5 to 11 and then 11 to 6. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. security shifts. Women do that.
Yeah.
So there's 42 of them already do that as well. So when women doing these things, and as I say, even now I find I'm seeing even probably even more women still taking over, or I wouldn't say taking over, more women are even being placed in the whole security officer role where mostly men occupied. So I mean, I don't have a problem with the women advancing, but what are the men doing? You know, is this the rise of woman and the fall of man, or is this the rise of women and the disappearance of man? What is happening? I just want to try to understand.
Or are the men stepping back and they feel like the woman has got too much space?
Yeah, mama know what's happening. What the man are doing? We are look for the woman and I say, go and rise me there, you look good up top. Or are we saying, them go and call, I go stand by myself and I help the woman. You know what I'm saying? We want to know where are the men? What's the mindset of the men?
Well, I couldn't tell you what
But I want to know what you think men are thinking.
I love it.
I don't know where they are to answer the question. I don't know where they're gone because you see the women up there, you see them doing their thing, but you don't see the men.
Right.
And you would want to think that they're in the, since the women are not in the house, they're doing what they're so you would want to think that the men are in the house, but some of them, most of them are still not in the house.
Right.
So it's, as you said, it's almost like the disappearance of men, and it goes back to the point I made earlier. It's like they're kind of offended, like they just shrink back.
Yeah.
Right? Some of them try to fight it, but they're fighting it now in the wrong. Them fighting it in the sense that they are take over. Like,
they're putting the aggression to the women.
Right. Instead of saying, alright, you're doing good, let me just
do good as well.
Just when I do something online.
Yeah.
So it's, they don't have to compete. I don't know where the disappearance gone. Maybe.
Well, to answer that question, Lionel dropped a point last week, and I want feedback on it. He said that he thinks maybe because women no longer quote unquote need men. And we're not saying they call aggressive, petty way. We're just saying women are now offending for themselves, right? And men are natural providers. That was their role. That's how they were built. So since there's technically not much to provide for, what else do I do? So do we think that's a part of it?
With Legos, we don't know what to do. I try to figure out what to do.
And then take up a job. Now do a job.
Exactly.
So know that I'm time for my aunt. What me for do we think that's a part of it?
I think the psychology of the man, of course, is to have a reason to provide. And
So imagine we're all providing for women, and women say, hey sir, we don't need you to provide.
And the reality is that if there were no women in today's world and society, what would we be doing?
That's true.
Right. But I do struggle with just that point.
Yeah.
Just in wondering and thinking, is it a case where because women are occupying these roles,
Yeah.
is that the reason why we have men stepping back?
That's what I was thinking.
And I struggle with it because I personally don't think it's because women are in the role. It's because I see women occupying roles because of course they're qualified and they're able to occupy the roles. But there are spaces.
Yeah.
Every day we see where there are vacant opportunities for persons, job employment, different executive roles. And there is a shortage of labor.
Yeah.
And we have women who are filling these roles, not because maybe a little bit because not completely because they want to be fully independent and because they want to be in every executive role and to kick out the men out of society.
Yeah, that's like that. No, they have a few, but
right.
That's
a whole different conversation.
It's not the masses, right? But there are the opportunities and the roles that are vacant, not because women are taking them over, but because men are not living up to that role itself.
And it's hard because here, when the job qualification says MA in this, BA in this, remember say as 80% of women are university and so who go and get the job?
The qualified people tend to be the women.
Who will most likely be women.
Likewise, why don't we have more men graduating from
I want to tell them what today.
And that was my question last week because I said when we were talking, I think it was MV that was saying, but it's mostly women in university, and I said, but you can't make it look like university only choosing women. Are they applying? Are men applying? That's really easy, because if you don't apply, you don't have a chance. Are men really applying? And once again, you can't go back to the whole how you were brought up. You probably did struggle with books one time, and your parents say, I know your thing, so I send you to go work at the time with your father up on the truck because at least you have another option, right? So I know we're running out of time, but I want to touch on this last one, the line there that was mentioned by Dre about the woman saying, I don't need a man, right? How we feel about that? Do we think that's also a part of men stepping back? And I said, push me out technically at the scene. So before me coming, I want to lead the thoughts. I don't want to give my perspective first. I want to hear from you guys first.
You might want to start with the lady.
Alright. She might be one of those.
She may have faith or been around a few.
I think.
Wait, first things first. Do you need a man?
What's your belief?
I don't need a man.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I can want.
Okay.
There's a difference between need and want.
That's why I get your view first. Go ahead.
So I think it's two sides to the coin, right? I think there are some women who they're just very spiteful, like move on. Like they're very much on the hatred tree. And you have a lot of women.
You have a lot of women like that
who are just against me.
They would say they only want a man for one thing, and that's the thing that they
right. So you have those women, and I think a lot of that I don't need a man. I think it's coming from them.
Yeah.
And they're just very present in the space. They kind of
seems like it's a mass thing, but it's not.
Exactly. So it may be a mass thing, it may not be a mass thing, but I just say it's two sides. You have those ones, and then you have the other ones who are like very career focused, very focused on what they want to achieve, because there's always this you get pregnant when you're 18, you drop out of school now because of man, you can't finish your education, you're a baby and all of those things, right? So you have those women who are like, they're focused, they don't want any man to distract them, they have goals, they want to achieve all of this.
So they leave man for last.
Right. So it's not like they don't need a man, it's just that they focus on themselves first. And I find that a lot of women are doing that these days, focused on me, achieving everything that they want to achieve, and men are just like, so when are you going to be ready for
When am I time?
You get what I'm saying? So,
but do you think that's women's reaction to men not stepping up?
I think it's women's reaction to them getting the freedom to do what they can in this society, because women are very liberated these days, and they have access to so much things, and there's so many women's movements, feminism and all of those things just to empower women, and I think a lot of these women are very much empowered by it. and they're jumping on the train and they want to achieve and do all of those things.
Alright, now the man must
That
say, oh,
train
we
are
got
packed.
catch by the train car.
I'm
Yeah,
not saying that
make it
they are well packed. But man,
man,
I want to know how you feel when you, because I know you've seen it from
You've heard it,
Birdie.
Bobby. What if you
When
want
women say, I don't need a man. Oh, what going on your brain at that
as a
point?
man?
But before you do, I saw a comment. Miss Morgan said exactly. There's a difference to need and want. And Spicy Diva Audrey, my said the full name coming now, shorten it. Spicy Diva Audrey said, society rules have subtly changed where men shunning responsibilities sees nothing wrong in taking the woman's money and letting the woman pay their bills, etc. And that has given birth to their fall. So she's saying that there's a fall, and because they're comfortable with the concept of women providing for them, that is now causing the fall. Alright, well, I want to hear Vaughn's feedback now.
Right. So I don't want to see this.
No man, see how you want, see how you
Just
should
talk
see.
your mind,
Just
sir.
talk your mind.
Let the people have interpret.
Whenever I hear that phrase,
Yeah.
it touches a nerve.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, me ear the
I
point.
know.
You hear the nerve.
women need men.
Alright.
You might not want a man because you can do certain things for yourself. But at the end of the day, you need a man.
Okay. Well,
No, but I love this
no,
perspective.
so many people,
So you
when
said
they find
women
the 5 days, they can't
want
still.
men and we don't need them, and then you're saying no, we don't need to understand we don't need them. So I love this perspective. Why? Like
I look for the documents.
What would women or what would this world be without men? Ask yourself.
Okay, so you're saying really and truly, and I think it was mentioned earlier, Anni mentioned men need women and women need men. It's a
It's a
complement.
balance. It's a balance.
So when you don't have a heart of the complement, something is missing.
Mm-hmm.
So whether we like it or not,
We're meant to coexist.
we're supposed to be together, somehow. Okay, I get you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking that all these great things in the world, structures, governments being set up, kingdoms being built. Yes, the women were there in their support, but it's the men. They are the powerhouse. They are the ones that built it, made it, presented it as it should be. And that is how women nowadays are able to emulate all of that. Right? No, respectful of it, yeah. Look at it, study it, and pass the exam. That's good. That is very good. But still, at the end of the day, you need men.
I love it. Well, Call Me Buzzy said, women need men and men need women. We're interdependent beings. And Tishande said, we need each other whether we like it or not. So Jevaughn, what's your feedback on this?
Yeah, I will agree that we are both interdependent.
We did struggle to know.
Right.
We did struggle.
On each other as genders, as individuals, of course. I don't 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
First of all, the example that you made, just as how things were built, you have to understand that from a historical perspective, how everything operated, it wasn't a case where women couldn't.
Right.
They never had an option.
Anybody could have done the building.
Right.
That point.
Yeah. But anybody could have done the building, really, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. But I just said everybody never learned that part yet. Right now, they're both on the construction.
Hold on, Aphrodisiac said, excluding the biological need for men.
That's it.
What else are they needed for? That's my word right there.
But I do really think that,
I
really do think that we absolutely, first of all, I need a woman. And I think that women need men. And I think understanding that from an emotional perspective, we support economic. If we have a household where we have both functional parties achieving whatever it is that they want to achieve and putting their mind to it, we have a household that is very, very
powerhouse.
Very much a powerhouse. And as such, if we had all of these households in Jamaica operating under this spotlight, I think Jamaica would be a better place.
Definitely.
I agree. Here, Jevaughn, my president.
Tim, I don't know if we want a party.
No, I think the conversation just
I mean, we have less than a minute to go.
Less than a minute.
I have a little position view that I wanted to close it, but if I started, Kim.
Well, my perspective for those who are on it, I said women initially started saying we don't need men because we're forced to go into that role of fending for ourselves. So initially it was an empowerment thing, but I think now we reach a place in society where we use it pettily. We use it. We start getting.
When you use it as
we start like, yo, we don't need you.
Yeah.
But first we're forced to become that way, but now it's like a weapon.
Yeah.
And I think that is where the problem starts. Because genuinely, I think we need each other.
And then the trick about it is that if it's a woman that would be said, you know, in her feminine energy, some way, somehow she's gonna find a masculine energy, some way to kind of complement her. Even though she said, oh, she don't want a man, she find out the masculine energy somewhere else. And
I love what Dre said, the first sign of trouble, women call men. Have a good day.
Have a fantastic women blame men. Have a fantastic weekend.
I just really heard everywhere.